people are looking so deeply to authenticity because the structures that we have built, we can't glorify those anymore.
Take a little break from the crazy, try to recalibrate. Every day seem to be hazy, I see doom. Everybody sick with obsession, it's hard to navigate. Take your baggage out of my space, I need room. Reset. New world order. Reset. New world order.
Let's hit record. Let me just start.
Let's just go ahead and start.
Let's just start, bro. Okay, wait. Let me do an intro though, Kev. All right, let me do an intro.
Sure. Do you think?
I gotta do my podcast thing, man. I can't be laughing this whole time. All right.
Okay.
All right. So listen. Thank you for joining me on the Stir Crazy podcast. I'm your host, JP Reynolds. This is gonna be a fun episode because I'm with one of my guys. Guys. I'm still gonna intro him because I'm a professional. I'm a professional at this. All right. Listen, this whole time I've been talking with some really great people, some dynamic folks doing interesting things. The whole podcast has been a blessing to be able to talk about what's going on in our world, talking to different folks in different industries and different spaces, different fields, different perspectives. And this is actually the last conversation I'm having of Black History Month. There's been a music-oriented series. And, the guy I'm talking to today has been doing... First of all, this is one of the homies. This is the homie right here. But also it fits because he's a dynamic musician. First, Kev, I'm going to embarrass you, bro. This is Grammy energy, all right?
Do your thing, bro.
This is Grammy energy today. Listen, people. Kevin Olusola, K.O., I call him Kev, is in the building. He's joined me on the podcast today. He's out in sunny LA. Kev is a really great musician. People know him. He's in Pentatonix, the group Pentatonix. He's a beatboxer. He's a singer. And also, this is the thing that, when I met Kev way back in the day, he blew my mind when he was playing the cello and started beatboxing at the same time. Man's has played saxophone in his life. Like, he's just, literally one of the most musically gifted people I know.
Oh, wow.
Like, legit, straight up. So I'm excited to just have fun and talk, bro. Listen, man, what are you? How are you? Have you been drinking water? What's good?
Literally had it's done. So I just finished drinking water. Man, I'm good, man. Guava it up if you will.
Yeah.
I'm thankful, man. I'm in a space of thankfulness right now. I just saw my parents because they're thinking about moving closer to me, closer to the area I live in. So it was just a nice day of being with them, hanging out with them, seeing homes with them. So that was really great, man. I'm just in a space of thankfulness right now because gratitude is where I want my soul's posture to always be in.
Straight up. I feel that. That's a real place to be in, man.
Yeah, dude.
It's also just like the key. I feel like gratitude literally opens doors, bro.
Completely, man. With everything going on, I feel like I have to stay there and just count the blessings that I have. And because I feel like if you stay there, then you can see how you can best serve. You're in a place of groundedness, and I guess somewhat a piece of that is foundational healing in that gratitude, so that you can look out and say, okay, how do I serve? How do I help my community? How do I just be a light in places where there's darkness? So that's why I feel like that gratitude piece has been so unbelievably necessary in the times we have been in. Goodness gracious.
Bro, listen, that is, I heard only facts. I heard no lies just now.
Come on.
I heard no lies. And it's funny because I actually, and we've talked about so much of this before.
Yeah.
I don't know where this conversation is going to go. Like I said, me and Kat, this the homie.
We just gonna have fun. Come on now.
But I'm also very clear that, you have a very interesting perspective on life, and you've been so blessed. And it's such a pleasure to see how you have actually remained grounded. And I think, our college friends talk about this all the time, how you literally just like the most grounded dude ever, bro. Like it's wild to see because I'm like, wait, what is this dude doing? Where's he at? What's happening? Kev is, and then when you chop it up, when you text or when you pull up to a spot with us, and someone's like, oh, this is Kev. There's nothing has changed.
Get out.
There's nothing has changed. And I mean, it's interesting. You just answered the question, right? It's like, how do you maintain the groundedness and the balance because you have such a grounded nature, a grounded energy, and an authentic energy, and I'm thankful for it, but sounds like gratitude is the key for that for you, man.
Well, bro, I mean, I don't know if you ever feel this way. It just, there's sometimes that imposter syndrome where it's like, I don't feel like I should be here. Especially because you know my story coming from Andover, Yale. Oh, I'm supposed to be a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, right? Like that's where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm even here doing this, utilizing this gift that I never thought I was going to utilize on the scale that I'm using it, I just am constantly grateful. I feel like a kid in this candy store every single day when I meet my band and we're about to do a video or I'm making my own music, or I'm just like, this is great. I could have never imagined this life. And so dude, it's cool. It's beautiful. I'm thankful.
Yeah, I do know your story. I remember you running up Science Hill in New Haven at Yale with the blue cello case. And it's like, yo, my man's.
I was the nerd of all nerds, the geek of all geeks. And I played it up. I had no swag. I didn't care. I was living it. I loved it. It was great. Oh my gosh. 100.
Honestly, bro, the blue cello case is imprinted and ingrained in my mind, man. It will never go away. Like I always, whenever I see them, I just see the blue cello case on your back, bro.
100%, man. That was the staple. That was the brand. That was the brand back then.
That's what I'm saying, man. That was the brand, bro. But and it's like you say you wonder how you got here and how all of this is happening. And we've talked about this before, right? Just like success, what it means, being blessed, what it means. I'm always in the space of wondering where we are in this process of like following our calling, our vocation, what we've been called to, living out our purpose, but also trying to balance that with being successful, man. Like, where are you these days on that?
That's a good question. You know what? What I'll say is this. I think one of the most interesting things in terms of success that I have found, and I think why gratefulness and soul posture is so important, is that in this decade that I've been in the band, the thing that I'm the most excited about in terms of my success is that I feel like I'm the most me. Because it's been a chipping away of the things that I thought I knew, the things that I thought were supposed to be me, the things I thought I was supposed to be me within the context of the industry, and shaving all of those chips away so that I can get to the nucleus of who I am. And that is the greatest feeling of joy and success, because money cannot buy you that. It cannot. It cannot ground you in your human. It can solve a lot of problems, but it can't do that.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that's always been the journey I have been on, and the destination I've been always running towards, because it will be a never ending one. And I want to continue on that because of that. It's like what Jay-Z talks about whenever he's making albums. He's like, I'm trying to find the truth of this moment right here. What is that truth right now? And he has to dig deep. And that's what everything he talks about in his albums, like, it's coming from an authentic space.
Yeah.
I think it's the reason I'm excited to make music now, not even in my band, but also for myself, because I've gone through that chipping away, not just in terms of my musical identity, but as my personal identity. So now when you hear me speak, and you've heard some of the songs that I've been working on, I feel like it's coming from a space of just, you are getting 100% authentic me in its essence.
Yeah.
So I'm focused on that soul journey, man. I'm focused on that soul posture.
Yeah, bro. And that's courageous, man. Like we've talked about our different postures or positions in terms of the music industry, right?
Right.
Being authentic and being artistic and having the freedom to tell our stories and what that means. And like, yo, you're in a space of having to be courageous because of, the position you have, which is a really great one. But like bruh, there's gotta be some courage there.
I definitely agree, especially because I think people maybe expect a certain thing maybe from me. I actually don't know what they expect. Maybe I'm thinking that there's an expectation that nobody's putting on me. But I think one of the things that I've tried to do on this journey is bring people along through my social media. Where hey, this is me experimenting through my YouTube channel. From the beginning, right? That's me playing cello and beatboxing. Me with the first video I put up of me wearing that blue shirt, sunglasses, speaking Chinese, thinking I was so dope, and then I played cello and beatbox. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
But it's the journey that I want to show people.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful because I feel like a lot of times these are very personal pieces of you that you're a little afraid to show people because it's you being vulnerable to the space you're in now. It's not perfect, but I think that that's been beautiful so that hopefully when people get to hear whatever I'm really thinking about and putting that out there, they won't see it as dissimilar to the journey they have seen the whole time. It's not like all of a sudden what? That doesn't make sense. No, I've shown you where I've come from. You've seen me from this to that. So
yeah, it adds up. It all adds
up. Exactly.
And it's a journey. I love the journey piece, man. We love talking that journey talk instead of destination talk, and how much of it is a process. I love what you talk about shaving away, right? Like shaving away to find the core and the story of who we are and navigating the external stuff. It's just this is such a huge piece, like Naomi talks about sculptures a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how sculptures come from a block of marble, and you're literally setting the sculpture free. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
It's like shaving away is setting the thing free. The thing is in there, but what you're doing is you're sculpting it away, you're shaving it away, and you're setting the thing free. And that's why, like, when you were talking about that, I kept hearing, yo, this sounds like a process of liberation. It sounds like a process of freedom.
Completely. Because in that marble, there are pieces that shouldn't be there. That's judgment. That is your own expectations of what you think the music should be, right? You got to chip away at that so that you get to the sculpture itself, free, liberated, and unadulterated, that you get to that place. I completely agree with that.
Man, what a life, bro.
That's why you just trust God and keep walking and just keep walking forward. Truly.
Yeah. That's it, man. Just keep walking forward. Keep on going. It's like way easier said than done, but it's so necessary to do.
Completely. Because I think sometimes along this journey of figuring yourself out, I was literally listening to a sermon about this where he said there's a difference between the man that they say falls 7 times and gets back up again. He said the man fell 7 times. Don't forget that. He fell, but he just got up each time. I think that's what this journey is about. Just legitimately, I'm going to get up again and I'm going to keep chipping away at the things that aren't me. Or I didn't know if it was me, and I chipped and said, oh, wait, this actually isn't me. Okay, now I know that. Take that block away. It's just, it's a long process, man. But yeah, keep walking forward. Keep putting one step in front of the other. Keep your hands to the plow.
Yeah, this is a whole word, bro.
Bro, man,
the
look.
Whole word.
Well, I mean, I'm thankful that you are creating a space for people to actually speak about these things, man, because I think it's just, I feel like in a time like this with COVID, George Floyd, everything going on, like economic disaster, if you will, people are looking so deeply to authenticity because the structures that we have built, we can't glorify those anymore. We can't. So I'm so thankful that you're creating a space for people to just be like, look, this is what it really is like. And it's hard and it's tough. And no, we're not glorifying these structures anymore. Like, who are you? For real?
Yeah, not glorifying the structures, and also in some ways trying to build new structures, right?
Yeah.
Like having the space to imagine new things, all the questioning that entails, which is really difficult work.
Yeah.
And it's a really weird space to be in, especially for folks like me, right? Like, who've been bucking at the structures anyway for so long. You know what I'm saying?
And you were always like, look, it's gonna come down. You've always said you're like, it's gonna come down. Even I was like, I don't know, man. And like, I'm telling you right now, it's gonna come down.
Yeah, bro.
And then 2020.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
And here we go. And here we are.
Yeah. Some of us, you know, a lot of folks have been saying that for a while, and begrudgingly so. It's not like we take any. I mean, I don't take any joy in that stuff, bro. I'm like, oh God.
But that's why you a prophet.
I guess, man.
That's why you prophetic. Don't play games.
I mean, you know, listen. No prophet of mine said he's, you know, I'm just out here, bro.
Oh, nah,
I'm just
man.
out
Look,
here, bro.
look, JP, that's your name, though. Jeremiah. You a prophet.
That's a fact. I was named after a prophet.
Hey.
Shout out to my mama, yo. Shout out to my mama and my daddy. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it is what it is, man.
Shout out to the parents. Shout out to, you know, the whole fam.
That's the truth, man. I don't even think I've met your whole fam.
Have you not?
I don't think I have. I met your brother.
He definitely met my brother.
I don't think I met your mom and dad, though.
I guess not, man. I guess the only time it would have been at graduation.
And I was gone because I was 2011.
That's right.
So that's why I couldn't have met him. And they didn't come to any of your football games. Did they? And I wasn't there?
Yeah, they came. They was always there.
Okay.
But those, I mean, those are mad. Those are madhouses, man. Like,
right, exactly. It's craziness.
The tailgates and, you know, those
right.
That was insane.
Right.
What a time. Good Lord, bro.
I know, man. College.
Speaking of those madhouses, though, you know, you've been on arena tours for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And bro, let me just say, like, see you on stage in the moments, dog. Sheesh, man. Sheesh, man. I'm like, oh, this man is locked in. This man's he's in a different place right now.
Man, thank you. We have fun.
Nah, y'all have a good time. And the thing is, I wanted to actually ask you about the fitness that's required to be on stage. I'm huge. I love. That's my favorite piece of being a musician is like the performance piece, like being on stage. But there's so much that goes into it, and it's not just talent. There's training that's involved. There's other areas of life that involve themselves with being on stage and being in shape and being on stage. So I actually wanted to chop it up with you about this because you've given me a couple real special keys when it comes to nutrition and like fitness on stage. And I'm like, yo, bro, can you drop them gems, bro?
100. Okay, well, let's even go a little bit deeper before we even talk about that type of fitness.
Okay.
I think there's a certain fitness for stage. Even when we're talking about, I know we've been on this key thing about soul posture, but I'm always like, look, when you're on stage, this is a service. This isn't really about you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, honestly, it took me a long time to get there because once I figured that out, I felt like I was much more liberated on stage because one of the pieces that may be hindering to your performance is anxiety. Oh my gosh, are you serious? Every single time I would go on stage, I just feel this pressure, like, oh my gosh, like my heart, I can't control the force, if you will. If we're using a Star Wars analogy, the force was in me and the force overtook me. Once I understood what I needed to do to control the force, especially realizing that this wasn't about me,
yes,
then I could serve from a place of liberation, saying, if I make a mistake, it's fine because this is about them having joy. This is about them finding freedom, seeing somebody fully liberated in his art.
Yeah, bro.
So I like that. I just want to talk about that fitness first. I think that is so unbelievably important. So like that takes time.
And the thing is, what you're saying is like, it's not an eradication of the nerves.
No.
It's using the nerves. It's using I love that you said
it's force. The force.
Because what I've told people, like I've trained some high school students in performing, like I've grown and performed myself. And I'm like, right. If you have nerves, that just means you're alive. Now go be alive. Right? Go be alive. So yeah, all right. But you was talking about fitness. I just love that you use the force. That's a great way.
That's what it is, dude. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. If you can use the force and wield that to your power, like that's why I always loved it. Like Black Panther, he had that energy suit. When that energy suit came out, it didn't overtake him. It was his power to boom. And he just took everybody down. You have to use the force and wield it to your strength. And now you get to use that for good, which is to serve. So that's the first part. But then the actual fitness part, yeah, dude, that's I mean, it is definitely a training. I mean, for me, one of the things I had to realize was cardiovascularly, I need to get myself in a place to be able to do a long 90-minute show.
Yeah.
My band, we do, Pentatonix does a 90-minute show and we're all over the place.
Yeah.
Truly all over the place.
Moving.
So I definitely had to do that. I mean, doing long runs or beatboxing while I'm, doing, beatboxing literally while I'm running.
Yep.
So I'll think about that stuff. Nutrition definitely is a big part of it. I eat mainly plant-based. I'll have meat maybe one meal a week. And that's usually like a Saturday night because my wife wants to get some Shake Shack. So I'm like, okay, well, we're going to do that. But I mean, that's definitely.
Shout out to Lee. Shout out
to my wife. To that. Hey. Hey. Thank you, God. Thank you, Father God. Hey, working. But yeah, dude, like that's definitely big. For me, plant-based nutrition gives me vitality on stage. I started eating more plant-based. It was 2019 on tour when I watched the documentary What the Health. And to some extent, it was a little bit more like scare tactic-y, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I did like a lot of what they were saying. And I decided, you know what? Let me just try it. Why not? And I felt myself having just longer periods of energy on stage. I wasn't feeling lethargic. I felt like in so many ways I was king of the world. I was losing weight very easily and quickly. And I wasn't doing much different. A lot of times people were like, oh, well, you're supposed to eat less carbs to lose weight and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I've been eating this plant-based thing and it's been easy. So that's just me personally. That's been really helpful. And there's I think a growing movement within the kind of artistic world. I mean, I think Jason Derulo's plant-based. What is it? Tom Brady is obviously like mainly plant-based. You have people like Beyonce and Jay-Z. I think they say every single time they do a tour, they're plant-based. So I think there are people that are seeing the science behind it and realizing its benefits in performance, in peak performance, not just as an athlete, but as a musician. Yeah. So that's kind of when, it's kind of when I started, and it's been really great. Training. We have an athletic trainer, which has been great. Her name's Annie Hadley. We've loved her so much. And I think one thing I didn't realize was just the functional movement that you need to be on stage. Because I was never an athlete growing up. So I wasn't trained in terms of how to utilize my glutes. I wasn't really trained how to utilize my core, my abs, so that when you move, you're not moving incorrectly. That will deteriorate your body over a long period of time, so that when you're walking on stage, you're like, oh shoot, my back feeling like, oh my God. I didn't want to feel like that.
Right.
I want to feel like I have energy and I'm using all the parts so that when I jump, I'm not hurting my knees. It's all just being trampolined, or if you will, or onto the glutes or whatever. So like that's something that's been really important to just understand my movement, and working with a PT has been great for that.
Yeah, you gave me a real special key one time, maybe probably months ago now. But you were like, yo, you got to put the avocado pit in your smoothie.
Yeah, because that's where all the nutrients are.
Bro.
That's where all the nutrients are. It's not just in the avocado. My dad's the one that taught me that one. He's been on this big health kick, and my father is incredible. Let me tell you right now. Yeah. He had rheumatoid arthritis, or they said that he did. In a year's time, with his study of nutrition, and he's also a doctor, so he can read the papers, he does not have it anymore. Literally, I was just talking to him. It must have been right before we were calling. He was just here like 5-10 minutes ago. And he was just teaching me so much about what he's been learning even recently. Now, I hope I could be able to explain this well. But what he explained to me, and I'm going to try this week. We'll see what happens. But he said, one of the things you have to do is align your body, your body's nutrition and eating times with your circadian rhythms. Because at nighttime, that's when your body is resting. So you do not want food that's in your body messing up that resting cycle. Also during the nighttime, your body produces, growth hormone and also glutathione. And glutathione is massively important to, I guess, your body's regeneration of cells. And so I didn't completely understand it all, but he said, my doctor, I go to him and he tells me, oh man, the medication must be working. He's like, no, I haven't taken medication for months now. It's because of these things that I'm learning about nutrition and plant-based eating and just eating within your window. He eats from a window of 9, I think it's 8 or 9 a.m. to now 3 p.m. And then he's done. And then he explained the reason why about the circadian rhythm. So I'm still learning stuff. I'm still trying stuff. I don't know everything's perfect, but you know, he's been a big source. Because also my dad's like, he's one of those guys that even now he squats 315 and will deadlift 450. Yes, he's 60. This man, my dad is incredible. I love this man.
Wow.
Like he scares me because I can't even deadlift or squat that much. I can't even do that. I'm like, Dad, how in the world? He's like, you gotta listen to me, son. This is why I'm your father. Listen to me.
Bro.
It's crazy.
I had to let go of squats a long time ago. So I don't
why?
Bro, my knees in college, dog.
Oh, yeah, because you a football. Oh my God. You torn an ACL, MCL?
I had a sprain of my MCL.
Okay.
And I mean, it's funny because like you talk about the nutrition and like I do yoga and stuff. I've been doing yoga for a long time. And yeah, it's like healing. It's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I love hearing about this from the perspective of being an artist because there is an athletic nature to this.
Yes.
I'm very clear that like my athletic background has lent itself to being a stage performer. But what I love to hear is artists talk about the preparation it takes to do the thing that we do.
Completely.
On any level, right? Like it doesn't matter what level you're at. It's like it takes preparation, it takes intention, and it takes research. It takes a lot of stuff behind the direct production of the thing that we're creating.
Right.
I love hearing you talk about it because I'm like, yeah, it takes all of that. It takes knowing to put the avocado pit in your smoothie because that's what the nutrients are.
Right.
It takes, you know what I'm saying? It takes, because you sent me them documentaries and I watched them. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm making a little change. I was a little bit upset because I didn't know it earlier.
Oh, bro. Same.
Bro, I was like, if I would have known this in college, I might have gone to the league. Like, I was like, I might have gone to the league, bro.
100%. And that's why that one of the ones I sent you was it was from the perspective of athletes.
Yeah, I can't remember the name.
Game Changers.
Game Changers. Yes. Yeah.
I had no idea. And one of my things that I like to do in my pastime is watch YouTube videos of like NFL athletes like training, what that looks like, them going through their workouts, them going through their exercises, going to cryotherapy. I like love watching that stuff because it was, again, athletes want to be musicians and musicians want to be athletes, straight up.
And it's the body, right? It's the body. We're using our bodies in ways that are performative.
Right.
Performance enhancement, right? That's what we're talking about. And it takes all of these different methods and techniques to figure out how to achieve optimal performance. So that's why I'm like, I love hearing you talk about it because the way you talk about it sounds like an athlete. It sounds like something that, because we're talking about longevity too, right? Like, yeah, you want to be performing until you're 80 years old, like, you know, forever.
Legit.
Right? I'm trying to be on stage forever.
Exactly.
So like, how do I do that in a way that has a longevity attached to it? And it's like, yeah, we got to have the health. And it's also interesting thinking about the artists that I've studied, like the stage performers that I've studied, like of back in the day, I'm like, I don't think they was taking care of their bodies. So like, imagine how, like James Brown, bro, like,
right. Oh my gosh. All those splits. Come on. You know, that did something to his knees. You know, what also wasn't like, I mean, Prince, he would do certain performative things too, but wasn't he taking, I think, pills for his hips and stuff because he just was always in pain.
Right.
That stuff really does have a detrimental effect long term if you don't do it right, or if you don't know functional movement and like.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot to it. And it's like, even just asking the question, how can I do this organically or with nutrition? It's such a huge piece. So I'm like, when you sent me them docs, I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to make some shifts. Even though I'm like, I haven't eaten meat for like 11 years. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, bro. I stopped eating meat my second year in divinity school.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And I went out like a G. I went out like a G, bro. I had my pops took me to Five Guys. I got like a triple cheeseburger, bro, that big bag of salty fries.
Come on. Let's go. That's the way to go out.
The thing, and I remember it. I went to the Five Guys in the Bronx. I remember this, bro. Like it was yesterday. And I was like, this is the last one. This is it. I'm going out. I'm done.
That's the way to go out. That's the way. If you go to start like, hey, bye.
Yeah.
Plop. Yeah. Mic out.
Yeah. I was like, I'm done. And I haven't eaten meat. But the thing is, though, for me, it's easy to cheat. Like, not eating meat doesn't mean you're still being nutritious.
Oh, of course. You can still eat Oreos, like you still eat M&Ms. Like, what in the world? But they're vegan. Stop. Shut up. What you talk about?
And that's me. That's what I struggle with. I struggle with sugar. I struggle with bread. Like, that's me. So when you send me the thing, I'm like, oh wait, let me think even more critically about this, or even just like this, the context of protein, right? Like the food groups and what your body needs to actually develop itself and be healthy. I'm like, I never was thinking about like, where am I getting my protein?
Right.
I never thought about that. I was like, I'm just like, oh, I'm not eating meat, so I'm good.
Right. And then that plants have all of this protein that nobody really talks about or nobody really understands. Like those documentaries. So I sent you, What the Health, Game Changers, and I believe it's Fork Over Knives, right?
Yep.
Yeah, dude. If anybody listening, please, I would highly recommend, and obviously JP would highly recommend as well. Just give it a thought, give it a look.
Yeah.
Take what you will from it, but it was definitely highly influential.
And that's for everybody. Similar to what you said about your pops, my mom was always on this kind of kick. She was always trying to find like the nutritional things for us to do. And like, what were the way that our original people used to eat? Like, we've had all this Americanized, westernized, processed food. We shouldn't be eating. She always was on that. And I never really caught it. She was the one who told me I need to stop eating meat.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I put up a big fight at first. I was like, and listen, my mama's listening. I promise my mama's going to hear this episode. So she's going to be like, I see, I'm glad he finally listened. Listen, I was like bucking, bro. I was like, I'm not going to stop eating meat.
Right.
This is what I'm doing. And then I just came around and here we are. And I'm like, oh yeah, you was right.
100%.
I sent her those documentaries and I was like, yeah, you've been saying this for a long time. So
completely. But that's the thing when you're talking about, it's getting to that place of understanding. I think personally, I'm a Christian, you know that. Mm-hmm. For me, I think God chips away at us in ways where we'll finally understand certain things, right? He will chip away because he knows the nuclei, if you will, of who we are. He sees the sculpture. It's like, let me chip away at him. Let me chip away this part because this may open him up to see this thing. Okay, let me chip this away. Okay, now he sees this thing. Let me keep chipping. Oh, Mom, now I finally get this, but it took some time for things to chip and for you to get information from different vantage points that actually speak to you to where you can now understand that stuff. Because I'm the same way with my dad. He'll tell me something and I'm like, I love you. I appreciate you, but I'm going to do my thing.
Right.
I'm a 32-year-old grown man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Right.
But it's like, 100%. Like I'm learning. It's like blind obedience. If you can get there, that's beautiful. But like, it's not. It's better when you understand and know, and then you say, "Oh." So, God was just chipping away.
Straight up, man. And thankfully, we have these resources because, like, neither one of us, we're not nutritionists, right? We're not. Now, I know you. I think were you? What was your major? Was it bio?
I was an East Asian Studies major, and I was pre-med.
You were pre-med. That's right. You were pre-med.
Right. Not that was a major. I just did all the requirements.
Yeah, orgochemistry, all that stuff. So like you have scientific things in your background, but like neither one of us are doctors.
Right, exactly.
Thankfully, we have said, okay, these are the things we need to figure out. Let's research it. Let's read some stuff. Let's talk to some people. And yeah, it's important, bro, for everybody. But I'm like, especially for artists, bro. Like, I want us to really take that part seriously. I think it's coming. The conversation is increasing in terms of how people prepare for it. Across the spectrum, but
I agree, and I think that's also why like social media is so important to. I mean, this whole journey piece, right? As an artist, showing people your journey and letting yourself be vulnerable, because I think people will learn from you. The rising artists of the next generation, these whether they're 10, 11, 15, 16, they are looking to us. Yeah. So if we can provide just a kind of a safe space, I think and social media can also be negative, of course, but if you can provide a place for them to just see what you do and say, oh, honestly, that's why I really love people like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, DJ, or like Kevin Hart, because they're really, they open themselves up completely. Yeah. And I was just watching an interview he does on, on Pandora or through SiriusXM.
Okay.
And it was a reputable comedian. And he said, like, bro, you have no idea, Kevin, how you just laid out your blueprint and how I got to just study that. I wish more people would do that because you are at the top of your game. And so, yeah, man, I think when it comes to also nutrition and stuff, like these people are doing that as well. And it's nice because we all just want to be the best version of ourselves. So to see people actually being that, living it out, man, it's nice to have social media to allow them to actually tell their story.
Man, laying out the blueprint is huge. And you mentioned social media, bro. And you know a little bit about my thoughts about social media, the pros and cons of it.
Yeah, 100%.
My struggle with it, bro.
100%.
But you know what though? We were watching, me and Naomi were watching the Britney Spears documentary,
dude,
a couple days ago.
No, the Framing Britney through Hulu, right? That one?
Yeah. We were talking about that, of how, I mean, obviously how insane it was for her to go through paparazzi and that whole era of just mass intrusion of privacy and intrusion of space. And we were talking about how social media has really given, especially celebrities, but really everybody, a type of freedom, a type of autonomy from that type of penetrative force like a paparazzi. And I'm curious about, like, one, I want to hear you talk about social media because it's always a little bit encouraging for me, because I'm very hot and cold on social media and the algorithms and the things that we're telling ourselves from the images we're portraying on social media space. But you have a really healthy perspective on it. So it would be great for you to like break that down a little bit, man.
It's going to always be tough because it is definitely a double-edged sword. And it's interesting because I think to myself, when I was watching the Britney documentary, I thought if she had social media earlier in the late 90s, early 2000s, would she have been able to control the narrative better? Because they were controlling the narrative for her.
Right.
And media took over. And I think paparazzi culture in certain ways is dying down because of social media, which I think is beautiful. I think it'll always be there, but I think in certain ways it'll die down. And thankfully, our band has never really been in that type of space. And I'm very, very thankful.
Word.
But I mean, to me, I've always said that social media is an amazing, I think somebody told me this actually, social media is an amazing slave, but a terrible master. Because if you can wield it it's like the force. If you can wield it to what you want to put out, it can be an incredible resource to you.
Yeah.
But then if you allow it to take you over, now you're just flipping through things that don't matter, don't feed you, right? Just the negative images, the stereotypes of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever. So I think that's why for me, I've said I'm going to utilize this and wield it for what I want to put out into the world, because those things, for example, the content that I like to put out, making the content feeds me, putting the content out feeds me, hearing people collaborate with my content feeds me, because also there are so many amazingly talented artists out there that I get it, because I was in Pentatonix. They just don't feel like they have their shot. Well, if I can at least use my platform as a collaborative space for people to see other artists, I will absolutely do that. 100%. So that feeds me. But then if I'm on there scrolling, what is it? They call it the death scroll or something like that. Like when you're just always on there. I guess I've just seen it so many times in my own life and with other people that I work with, where it's like, that's all they're doing. And then I feel like they don't get to be in a space that is rejuvenating for them. You know, honestly, it affected my sleep, because I think my mind is continuously moving and continuously being activated by social media. And what I'm seeing, that I couldn't get great sleep as well. So I feel like it mastered me. And so that's why I remember it was 2 years ago when I told, early in 2019, when I told my team, look, either we need to get a social media manager for me, or I'm just not going to be posting very often. Because my life, there's parts of my life that I want to keep private. There's parts of my life I definitely want to let people in on. So, and I don't want everybody's perceptions of my life to master me. So there's that. But I also want to feel like I'm doing me the best way, and having social media in my life in certain ways does not allow me to do that. I will waste so much time. I will do stuff that's just not healthy. So that's kind of why I've said it's a love-hate relationship, because you need it to get your message across, but also it can master you if you allow it to, and you don't have boundaries.
But you also use it in a way that's like authentic to what you want to be creating, right? Like you're actually playing the cello, you're doing vocal things, like you're actually making music. It's not like you're using it just to be an influencer, right? Like
Right.
I think there's a difference there where, I think a lot of musicians feel like they can't necessarily do their art on the space because the space is not always made for the art. It's made for the interaction. So they're doing whatever they can do to gain the clout, to get the interaction, to get the engagement, just so people will engage with the stuff that they actually care about. And that's what's like.
I mean, I just don't want people to get a caricature of their art. You know what I mean? Like, that's personally me. Unless this is authentically them, I want to be clear about that. If that is authentically who they are, and people find that interesting and entertaining, and then I guess that's one thing. For me, I just care. I just care about music. I love music. I love creating a space for other musicians to make their music. I love to be able to I love to be on this journey. So I just want to show people that.
Yeah.
So that's just the way I personally want to use it. If I was a comedian and I thought that comedy could bring people to my art, maybe I would do that. It's just not who I am. So
No, I feel you.
Yeah. And also what I'll say is like, I think what you were just saying about that, I used to be very judgmental, I think, on how people use their social media. And I think I have now completely 180 degree changed on that, where I said, look, you're using it the way you feel like you need to use it best. Who am I? I don't know your life. I don't know your story. Like, and if I won't do that, because I wouldn't ever want you to do that to me. And so I have very much changed on that. Some things on social media, it's going to sound bad, but I don't mean it in a bad way. It's for an ephemeral moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is just an ephemeral thing. It's a trend, and you do this trend really, really well, but that's something that you follow and people really enjoy that. And if they're enjoying it, who am I to say that's good, bad, that's high art, low? Like, I'm not going to say that. It's just you making content. And then some people utilize it to tell a longer story. That's great too. So it's just, it's a blank canvas, and you decide how you get to use it.
Yeah. That's real. Thank you for naming that judgmental nature of yourself, because I feel similar. Right? I mean, I think I actually have gotten less critical as a creative of other creatives as I've gotten older, or as I've created more, because I'm just like, it takes a lot to create things. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of soul force. It takes a lot of anything to create, and even just to put yourself out there. So I'm like, I want to use less energy towards other people's creative projects and more towards my own.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not really thinking about yourself. I mean, like I can, if I engage it, if I encounter it, then I can engage it and I can give it energy. But I don't want to spend all that time criticizing. So it's a journey in and of itself, though, bro. Because
I feel that one hard. I only say I feel that one hard because I think also, right, you and I come from spaces of, I think, I guess I'll just say highfalutinism, in the sense of like, no, but hear me out, right?
I hear you.
I come from a classical music background.
Yeah.
Right? So now with classical music, there are hundreds of years of a pedagogy that you study, and you don't really do too much. Personally, it doesn't feel like sometimes you do too much outside of that pedagogy, the way things are done. That's why you study the greats and how they express their arts, and then you figure out a way to express art throughout this thing. But there's a study, there's a school, there's a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Social media democratized, I feel like, a lot of that. Yeah. So it's like, who says that you have to be a studied person? And so it flies right in the face of that. And so now with our highfalutinism, we come say, well, you're not doing that right. You're not doing that correctly. How dare you not make high art? That social media doesn't care.
Yeah.
And I understand, nor should they. They should just say, this is this blank canvas for people to create.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter where you're coming from. And it's also beautiful because maybe you come from a space where, you weren't studied, if you will. But now it opens you up to learning from other people and creating what you feel like you can create and gain tools from other people's, knowledge base, if you will. So that democratization is I guess I didn't realize it was necessary until I got over myself and my classical music-ism, if you will, to just see it as these are the skills that I have to figure out how to make art that connects with other people. And I'm going to use social media as a blank canvas for me to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. The democratization of it is key. And I think even just the change in technology too, right? Like I think about the barrier of entry to making music and how that's so different now, right? Like you can get a mic, if you get a laptop, you can record and you can put stuff out on SoundCloud. Like it's not even, you can just make it. In order to create, you don't have to be in a huge studio with huge budget. Like the bar is lower, and that's a good thing. Like I don't even want to say the bar is lower because that sounds like the highfalutinism thing, right?
Right.
But it's like the barrier is not the same. More people can access it. That's what I do love about the social media space and just technology and how it's advanced and progressed. It's like, yeah, man, more people can do this now. It's not just for the elite. It's not just for the rich. It's not just for the so-called educated. It's not just for the folks who have certain social status or cultural capital. It's for anybody can access this. Anybody can do it or create it or produce it. It's more open. And I love that part about it.
Completely. I completely feel that. Now, I will also say, and maybe this is me, like, I feel like I'm going back and forth in certain ways because I do agree with that. But I also do think with that, because the barrier is lower, which is a beautiful thing. I guess for me, like the reason that I play cello the way I do is because I somewhat understood certain rules of playing, right?
Yeah.
So that when I decided to play a different way, I completely understood why. And I think that just allows you to make more interesting choices.
Agreed. 100%. And I go back and forth in a similar way, right? Because the study is still necessary. What we have now is a place where the study doesn't only have to happen in one place.
Yes.
And doesn't only have to be validated by a certain people.
Exactly. 100%.
Now you can still gotta put the work in now. Come on now. There's still rules to some of this. It's just now it's like, nah, like you don't have to be in certain spaces to gain access to those rules. And it's definitely a thing to go back and forth on. I talk about this with folks all the time, just like, standards or rules or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, man, like I go back and forth on it because traditionally and historically, so many of us haven't had access to those. They weren't able to go to the schools we were able to go to, Kev. You know what I'm saying? It's like they didn't have the access. So it's like people like us to give. That's part of the reason I sat at the table. I'm like, I'm trying to set the table to get some more chairs at this. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'm not here by myself. You know what I mean?
100%. We bringing people with us.
The whole
people.
They're coming with me. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So but at the same time, you're right. It's like, we still got to put the work in now. This is not just like a free for all.
Right.
And, I have this thoughts I have in industry spaces with that, but maybe we won't get into that today. Maybe we won't get into that today, Kev. Maybe I'll have to get you back or something. We'll do a part 2 or something.
Oh, happy to, bro. That's so unbelievably funny because we're just having fun, bro. That's why it's so dope.
You know what? I did want to ask you a question today, and again, shout out to Lee.
Hey,
I've been asked this question before myself, which is I'm like, I want to hear Kevin's perspective on this.
Okay, sure.
Because we're both married people.
Mm-hmm.
We're both happily married people.
Very, very happy.
Very, very happy. Shout out to Naomi. Shout out to Lee. Right?
Naomi's the best.
Naomi, listen.
Yo, that's my girl. I think she is incredible, bro. Incredible.
She is incredible.
Don't play. She's incredible.
I don't want to get into the Naomi bag too much because that's a whole podcast episode. I could run down all the ways in which she's incredible, but I'm a chill.
100%.
One of my goals actually for the podcast is for it to, in her mind, be important enough to get her on it. That's what
right, because she's just like, man, I'm married to you. Why am I gonna, I don't want to be on. I hear you talk every single day. And you hear me talk every single day. Like, no, I get that. That's so funny.
No, but we're both happily married people, and you've been on arena tours, and you've been a touring artist for a long time. One, I'm curious. I want to know the difference between being a single touring artist, because you at one point were single touring music artist, and being like a married touring artist, and what's possible there. Because I don't know that we have that many representations of happily married music artists who tour and make music and are unabashedly, energetically grateful for their partners. So I'm like, you have a really great perspective on this. And I'm like, what's possible, man? Like, what's possible with being, well, one, like, what's the difference between being a single touring artist and being a married touring artist? But also, what's possible with being like a married music artist?
Sure, man. I mean, that's a really good question. Because I think it also just, once again, it's about your posture and going into a tour, going into your life. Like for me, I was so excited to be on the road. And also I had 4 extremely good friends with me. So I guess I never really felt like I was alone per se. You know what I mean? I felt like I had a good time. I was enjoying myself, and we, I don't know, it was cool to know that me and my 4 friends could go around the world doing this music. That was so fun, and meeting people from all over the world and getting to make friends with people all over the place. You know, now I will say there are times where you're like, oh shoot, I'm in this hotel, and it's just me. What I'm gonna do? Twiddle my thumbs right now, or like,
Word.
you know what I mean? Like,
Word.
so I mean, there are definitely those times, but I also think, I feel like, you know me, I'm somebody that doesn't, I don't like to waste time, and so like I really would try to like take my time and schedule them well so that I could be still doing other things and learning about myself or making other music. So I always tried to be productive. So that kind of like took my mind off of things. But being married, dude, there's like there's like a wholeness and joy. Like I'm doing this for somebody now. You know, at first this was about, I mean, service, but at the time that I was single and I feel like I was coming up in the industry, there was, there's glory, ego, fame. Like, I feel like you probably have a little bit of that if you're an artist, or a healthy amount of it. You know what I mean? Like so I wanted to be the best that I could be, whether it was my cello playing or beatboxing and stuff. And now I'm like, oh, this is cool. I now get to do this for somebody. And she gets to see me on stage. And when I see her in the audience, it lights up my world. I will say though, one thing that I did think being single was that I have such a rhythm and flow here that I'm a little nervous that being married will take away my flow, will take away my ability to be creative. And not in the sense of like, look, I know that when love comes into your life, there's probably new experiences that are beautiful that will help you, but just the ability to kind of do things on your own timeline, your own schedule. Like, no, I got to think about another person. If we have kids, I got to think about, oh shoot, now there are children. But, and also I thought that when you become married and if you decide to have kids, there's this possibility that people see you as like not cool anymore. I just always had that nervousness that they feel like they can't relate to you because now, a lot of music is driven by youth culture. So they're like, oh man, you one of those married guys now, you ain't one of us. But it's been cool to see people like, Kelly Clarkson with her kids, or Chris Brown with his, or just like other rappers with theirs, and they're still dope. They're still cool. John Legend, same thing. Like, so it's that like broke it down for me. That's like, oh, it's cool. Or as long as the music is good, don't worry so much about that. And so I that's something that has been like recently I've like really worked. I've had to like really work on.
Yeah. Now that sounds like an evolution too, right? Like in terms of our society, like seeing family men, right? Like people who are family, and it's like, no, this is still a cool thing. This is still
right, exactly. Like you can still have swag, you can still be cool.
Yeah.
You have a happy family too. It's not like but the other thing though that I feel like also changes. Logic put out this record called Dad Bod. This is after like, all his crazy success. This is after his Khalid and Alessia Cara, move, that whole thing. Yeah. He puts out this record and it's just basically about him being a dad. Literally, it's like, I wake up, I change dirty diapers. Like, this is my life. And y'all want me to rap about the stuff that I used to go through. But back then I was hungry. Like back then I was working towards something that was a little different. So like my purpose in terms of, and the intention behind my rap was a little different.
Right.
Like you say I've changed. I think John Bellion actually talked about this too. It's like, you say I've changed. You say that I don't have the same type of intensity. It's like, my life is different.
Yeah.
I just have a different, I'm a husband. I'm a father. Like, it's different. So, but that's the thing. I feel like great artists know how to communicate it in a way that people are still, I don't know, they're still with you. Like, I think Kanye's done an amazing job. Like with that record that he did, with the picture that he took with the iPhone of like the mountain background.
You talking about Bound? Is that the one?
Is it Bound? No, I think it's after. It was the one right before he started doing the gospel stuff.
You're talking about Kids See Ghosts.
No, that was a collaboration album though, right?
That was a Cuddy.
No. It was one.
Oh yeah, you talking about one of the EPs? Yeah,
yeah. It was like one of his EPs, maybe before Cuddy, and then right before also the gospel stuff. He had this one track that he was talking about how he realized, oh shoot, I hope my daughters don't look like Kim, because I know how dudes are like, because I'm also that dude. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but it's like the way he sonically portrayed that, like it was still, the music was still so dope. Yeah. But it didn't lessen the message, and I don't think people looking at me like, nah, man, you know what I mean? Like he's still always using the textures of the times, as he would say, to make dope music and speak out his message. So I mean, like, I just realized you just got to continue to evolve. Yeah, facts. Yeah, one thing about Ye is that the music is gonna be dope. I mean, always his messaging will shift, maybe. Yeah, of course. The music gonna sound crazy though. The music, 100. This is gonna sound crazy. He's a genius, man. Goodness gracious, bro. Yo, man, what do you like? You mentioned earlier, I have heard some of your new stuff, and it's really dope. Thank you. What's exciting you about music and being a music maker and your voice and your artistic narrative? What's exciting you, man? Man, I think for me, it's just to know that I could continuously improve. Like when I went on this journey of just understanding even my voice, I felt like I would look at the lineage of people like Phil Collins or Peter Gabriel or Sting, these people who I feel like they were really musicians and instrumentalists first, or Eric Clapton, my gosh, like instrumentalists through and through. And then it's like they kind of felt like they discovered their voice along the journey and realized, oh wait, there's a lot more that I can say. And so I think that has been such an amazing journey for me, because now I'm realizing, oh, wait, when I started off realizing that I wanted to be an artist, I really had a certain type of palette, and that palette or the brushes that I could use to paint were mainly cello and beatboxing. Now I've learned, throughout this decade of being in Pentatonix, okay, I've learned how to arrange. Okay, I wanted to take on production myself a little bit. Okay, and now I'm getting some other brushes. Okay, I can say a lot with this stuff, but what else can I use? Oh, I can sing? But do I really want to do that? And then, I meet Sting, and Sting goes, well, you sing the way you're supposed to sing. You don't have to sing like anybody else. Like, you don't have to do runs, as long as it is communicated authentically within the context of your art. And then I said, oh, wait, that's dope. Okay, let's work on this. So now I just realized I have so many brushes to play with, to paint. And so now I'm just having fun painting with different colors. It doesn't have to all be the same brush. Like I put out True Colors as a cover. That's literally painting just with my voice. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Okay, well now let me paint with just my cello. And so like, I'll just do a cello piece. That's great. Okay, man. Now I'm doing these like collaboration type stuff where I'm like saying, okay, well, I'm going to lay down this beat and I'm going to use brushes that I don't have, but brushes that other people have with their singing, with their production. I just feel like I'm now getting to paint really interesting pieces with all these different brushes that I didn't realize I had, or I didn't know I developed and needed to utilize to speak out my message. And that's been really, really fun. The True Colors video and how you were literally painting the colors in the video, which was really dope. Oh man, thank you. And yeah, we could definitely talk all day like we be doing, but like every single time we call, 100%. Every single time. And I'm like, after I stop recording, we probably go still talk. Yeah, 100%, exactly. They won't get that part of the conversation. No, you guys won't get that 100%. That's so funny. But
every conversation I've been having for the podcast, throughout the podcast, every guest has been super helpful and super inspiring and encouraging and just been dropping gems like you have just done. And
Thank you.
This whole time, obviously, it's been such a crazy year and crazy time we've been in. I've always wanted to orient these conversations towards joy. And we've done that. It generally happens. People come on here, have jovial natures and attitudes. We have great conversations. But I always love asking every single person how you are experiencing joy these days. And I'd love to hear that from you, man. How are you experiencing joy these days?
Man, I would say it's truly like the first thing I said in the very beginning of this podcast. It truly is just gratefulness. Because if I root myself in that, there's indescribable joy that comes from it, you know? And so I think if I stay in that heart posture, I will find the joy in that day. I will find it because the world is too crazy not to find it.
Yeah, that's a fact. Thanks a lot, Kev. Thank you, man. Thank you for pulling up. Thank you for your friendship and your brotherhood. And
bro, I love you. You know that. Come on. You know I love you. Come on.
Still gotta show the gratitude, baby. You know, it's a real thing. I really am grateful for you and how you exist in the world, who you are, how you've been grounded, the story that you're telling and that you will continue to tell. I'm grateful for you. And
thank you, man.
Thanks for sharing your wisdom and your insight on the podcast. Anything else you want to plug? Anything else you want to say?
Man, I love you guys. Check out more music coming from me. You know, that will come. But at the meantime, my band Pentatonix just released a new album, an original album called The Lucky Ones. Really proud of it. We haven't put out an original album in 5 years because I don't think that first album was an experiment. And I think now we understand how to use our brushes to paint the colors that we want to paint. So I'm really proud of this one.
Dope, man. Thank you again. And thanks to all the listeners for tuning in. You know where to find us at. We'll be back next week. But again, thank you, Kevin, man. This has been great. Much love, bro.
Happy to be here.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Stir Crazy. Don't forget to follow the podcast at Stir Crazy Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. On Twitter, you can find me at Stir Crazy Pod. This is a completely independent venture, so your subscriptions and donations are more than welcome. You can support the podcast at patreon.com/JP Reynolds. Thank you. Peace and power to you. See you next Tuesday.
Peace and power.
True.